guys don't mind the look, I'm filming this like super late at night and hot, and I've been working for like the last 2 hours. Hope everyone is well. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers, my viewers, for the likes and the comments. Guys, House of the Dragon is premiering like super soon, and I'm super excited. And for the last few days, I've just been like watching like YouTube videos. So shout out to all those like YouTube people who have been like hyping this up. I'm super excited. I'm going to be doing a viewing with my sister. We've got something special, like as a surprise, leading up to House of the Dragon that we're going to do together. And then we're going to be watching and reacting to House of the Dragon. And she is super excited because I'm super excited and I won't shut up about it. What I've been watching other YouTubers, and they're talking about everything that's happened before. So I just want to like do my own spin on it, talk about it, and just discuss everything that's been going on. So let's get into it. I was going to show pictures doing this, but then I didn't want to get copyright or strike against my channel, so I decided to write it out all by hand. And I was going to do like a family tree kind of thing, but then I realized that there's a lot of names, and there's things that I want to talk about that will take a lot of time. So we start with Aegon the Conqueror and his wives, Rhaenys and Visenya. Now it's rumored that Aegon was actually impotent, and so Rhaenys and Maegor were actually not his children, but that Visenya used sorcery because she dabbled in that kind of thing, and that Rhaenys was a son of one of the singers that got involved in some kind of thing. So, yeah. Now, they had two sons. He had two sons, Rhaenys and Maegor, allegedly. And what I was wondering was like, how is it that he never had any more children? However, it was brought to my attention by watching other YouTubers that Rhaenys was actually like the one he really loved, especially over Visenya. Now, Rhaenys died when Rhaenys was 3 years old, and Aegon never got over that. And so he only had one kid. Now, when Aegon died, his son Rhaenys became king. And then after Rhaenys, it would have gone to... Rhaenys reigned with his wife, Alyssa Velaryon. Now, the Velaryon name, there are Velaryon characters or actors in the show. So House Velaryon is going to have an important role. And if you go check out my Vlogmas, which I'll put a link in the description below, you'll see I do Velaryon characters in my Vlogmas. A link will be in the description below. He married Alyssa Velaryon, and together they had 5 children. They had Rhaena and Aegon, Viserys, Jaehaerys, and Alysanne. Now, after he died, it should have gone to his oldest son, Aegon, who married his sister, Rhaena. However, Visenya sent for her son Maegor, and Maegor came over and took the Iron Throne from Aegon. And he became Aegon the Uncrowned because Maegor went crazy and killed Aegon on his dragon while Maegor was flying his dragon. Now, Aegon had 2 children with his sister, Rhaena. He had Rhaella and Arya. Then I was wondering, I was like, well, there's also Viserys. What happened to him? And doing a little back research, I realized that Maegor actually tortured and killed Viserys because, again, he was crazy. So you had the first three children of Aenys, or the first two sons of Aenys, were just gone. And Rhaena was left with her two daughters, Rhaella and Arya. Then Jaehaerys rallied the lords of Westeros around him, and when they went to go take King's Landing, they found Maegor sitting on the Iron Throne, dead. He was 14 when he became king, married his sister Alysanne, and together they had 13 children. Now, after 5, I would have been like, get off me. But they got married young, so they were able to have a lot of children. They had the ones who lived were Aemon, Daela, Alyssa, Balon, Vagon, Margella, Viseria, Sarah, and Gale. Now, hop on over here to House Baratheon. Okay, so House Baratheon was founded by Orys Baratheon, and Orys Baratheon was the rumored half-brother of Aegon the Conqueror. Now, after Orys threw Argilac the Arrogant, he married his daughter Argella, and together they had two children, Davos and Robar. And Robar married Alyssa Velaryon, who was the widow. There's Alyssa up there. The widow of Aenys the First Targaryen. So she was married twice. And together they had Jocelyn Baratheon. So Jocelyn Baratheon is the half-siblings of the surviving children of Alyssa from Aenys, Rhaena, Jaehaerys, and Alysanne. And Aemon, who is the son of Jaehaerys and Alysanne, ended up marrying Jocelyn, who was technically his aunt from another marriage. And together they had Rhaenys, who we will see in House of the Dragon. I cannot wait. And she ended up marrying Corlys Velaryon. Now, the other children of Jaehaerys and Alysanne, Daela married someone from House Arryn and had Aemma Arryn. And then Alyssa and Balon, who were siblings, married each other and had Viserys. And Viserys and Aemma, who were cousins through their parents, had Rhaenyra. Now, something I find very interesting about this whole thing is I often wonder, one, Aegon didn't have more children, which he could have. He could have married someone after Rhaenys, but he didn't. He had just the two wives, didn't want any more. But something I wonder is Maegor didn't have any children. He was married 6 times. They called him the Black Brides. Tried to have children. Couldn't have any children. What would have been really interesting, if you think of it as when they're talking about something I think of when it comes to my mind is the Marvel Universe for some reason. And there's that, Kang talks about the time, and it's in a loop. Things happen the same way over and over again, or there's a consistent set of things that happen. And something that always stuck out in my mind is what would have happened if Maegor had children with all 6 of his brides. What would the Targaryen family have looked like if Maegor the Cruel had children. That's something that about. Now, at the beginning of House of the Dragon season 1, episode 1, we will see Jaehaerys Targaryen. By the Council of 101 AC, Alysanne has passed away, Aemon has passed away, Daella has passed away, Balon has passed away, and Alyssa have passed away. And so Jaehaerys has basically his grandchildren and great grandchildren left. All of his children, except for a few that, or I shouldn't say all his children have passed. Vagon is a maester at the Citadel, and I believe Sarah is still alive. Viserys passed away, Mygella passed away, and Gale have passed away. Running through the streets of King Landing and fell off a horse, got into a fight and passed away. Like, their children are just scattered to the wind. And Rhaella and Arya, who are Rhaena and Aegon's children, are still alive. So he's got his nieces are still alive. Come the beginning of the story, I believe. I'm not sure. Or maybe they've since passed. I don't know if we'll see them in House of the Dragon. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But something that always surprised me or has always lingered in my mind is what would have happened if Maegor had children? That would have been really bad, I think. And then, what would have happened if Aegon was still alive? The throne would not have gone to Jaehaerys and Alysanne, although they probably still would have ended up getting married. So that's like a branch of the timeline. If Maegor had children, that's one offshoot. If Aegon and Rhaena were still together and married, then Jocelyn Baratheon would have never been born. Oh, Rhaenys went on to marry Corlys Velaryon. I forgot to mention that. And they have Laena and Laenor, who will be in the show. So we're going to stop that family tree right there. I also wonder what would have happened if Rhaenys became queen. I've seen bits and pieces of her dialogue and how she speaks to Rhaenyra and other people. Her and her husband have a very awesome relationship. In the book Fire and Blood, Corlys, at their wedding, Rhaenys shows up on her dragon, which I think is absolutely badass. And Corlys is like, I came from the edge of the world, because he sailed all over. The Velaryons are ship people. He sailed all over Westeros and Essos and past, Valyria. And he said, I came back from the edge of the world for you. And she says, after we're married, we can go back to the edge of the world, but I'll get there faster because I'll be on my dragon. Like, they have one of the healthiest, I want to say, relationships in A Song of Ice and Fire and in the leading up to the Dance of the Dragons. But I would have loved to see in an alternate timeline what she would have been like as queen, because that would have been amazing. And at the time of the 101 AC, both of her children were born. So one of her kids would have ended up on the Iron Throne. So that would have been something. But I just think it's going to be absolutely amazing to see all of this play out, really. And I want to know, what do you think would have happened if Maegor had children? Or if any of Aenys' other children were alive, how the show would have gone on. It makes me think also when we go to the time of Game of Thrones, before Robert's Rebellion, King Ares and his wife had 10 attempts of having children. Rhaegar was their very first, and then between Rhaegar and Viserys, there were 8 attempts at pregnancy. Some died in infancy, some were stillborn, some she miscarried. And what would have happened? I think if Rhaenys was on the throne, the Dance of the Dragons would have never happened. And there would have been dragons all the way up until Robert's Rebellion. And perhaps Robert's Rebellion would not have happened had Ares had all of the children that he wanted to have. Because even if he had ended up going crazy, and Rhaegar was the crown prince of Dragonstone, Rhaegar could have just sent messages to all of his siblings and been like, "Hey, meet me on Dragonstone. I need to talk. We need to talk about Dad. We need to talk about Dad, right?" So even if they needed to usurp him, there would have been no need for him to run away with Lyanna Stark. There would have been no need to start a rebellion, because if Rhaenys had been on the throne, or even if Rhaenys wasn't on the throne and there wasn't a Dance of the Dragons, and Rhaenyra ended up being the only one to sit on the throne, and then her line continued from there, what would have happened? If What would have happened, right? If Viserys didn't remarry into the Hightower family, what would have happened? Because they had so many dragons by 115 AC, and they had a lot of Targaryens by that time, right? They had Rhaenys and her 2 children, and Aemma Arryn, and Viserys, and Rhaena, and Viserys had a brother. It was just, there were just Targaryens and dragons everywhere. And I think it's really cool. I saw some of the promos then watching over the last few weeks, and in all honesty, like, there's a scene where the dragons are just flying over King's Landing, and people aren't even looking up anymore. Like, it's just so normal that there's just dragons. It's just so normal, which is really cool. I think this whole thing would have been avoided. And I was watching a fellow YouTuber, uh, Lucifer Means Lightbringer, and he was saying how, or I mentioned in one of the videos, I was like, even if, okay, Viserys wanted to remarry, if he had given Rhaenys a position on his small council, Corlys had a position already. He was master of ships. Rhaenys could have been the mistress of something. Rhaenyra was already his cupbearer. Viserys had a brother who was, commander of the City Watch. If he had all of the dragon riders and all of the strength of House Targaryen in King's Landing, and not spread out, one person on Dragonstone, one person on House Valerion, Driftmark, and then him in King's Landing. If he would have had his cousin and his brother and everything, like, there with him, if he had named his brother Hand of the King, this would have been no problem whatsoever. If he had named Rhaenyra or Rhaenys to something, because she was already passed over. So if he would have been like, "Hey cousin, I know you wanted the throne, I got it, but I can give you a position in my council, within my household," that would have just solved so many problems, I think. I could be wrong, but there's so many different branches of time of things that could have happened if from 101 AC the cards were just dealt and played differently. So that'll do it for this video. It's gone on a lot longer than I expected. We're not going to go past Rhaenyra being born or Lena and Laenor being born because we're going to see them grow up on screen. And I just wanted to like talk about the people up at the top of the family tree. You know, Rhaenys, Visenya, Aenys, Maegor, all of them. I just wanted to talk about, what could have been if Aegon was alive. What could have been if Aemon and Balon had still lived instead of it going to Viserys. You know, instead of people wondering what could have happened. So, yeah, guys, that's all I got. All right, guys, that'll do it for this video. House of the Dragon is dropping tonight. I'm super excited. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. I will be putting up our reaction to House of the Dragon. Super excited. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of my theories, because I've got a lot and I would love to know like what you guys think about it. So let me know. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Till the next video, fire and blood, fire will rain, dragons will roar, all that wonderful stuff. Don't forget to bend the knee too. Peace out, guys. See you in the next video.